Hi guys, this is the fourth example movie in my little series of establishing shared coordinates in your model. This time you have an input Revit model with the shared coordinates that have been set up. Usually the architectural model, they start well in advance of us normally, and sorry about that. So this is the example. So what I'll do is quickly go to that model and just see what we've got. It's worthwhile making sure that it has been established correctly. So I'm just going to switch this into this view. Here's a little example architectural model. It's a shelter. There's no columns or rafters because the architect will actually in the end get that from the structural model, and there's not much MEP input there because it's got no walls. Okay, so it's a simple shelter. If you go to the Manage and then Location tab, you can see that it's got a saved site internally, and you see there's a deviation of Project North and True North. So something has been established here. So let's just have a quick look. Quickly go to a plan and change it to True North. ZX. Yep, that's looking at like there's been a different coordinate system set up. Another good little trick to do is to just quickly whip down a model line and then going Manage Coordinates, Report Shared Coordinates, and look, oh, that's all really survey grid up. So it's so that's sort of 300,000 east and 6 million north, and it's got an elevation of an RL of 17.85 meters. Change that back to Project North now. Modify, and just go and have a look at that section, and you can see there's levels and that are in this model that support that. Okay, so I'll just close that. Close without a save. All right, so here's our model, and we've got a datum level established, and when you look at that datum level, that's set up at RL0, which is the default in our template. I've created a plan called positioning because I'm going to have to play with the view range for this example, because when we just saw the architectural model, it had an RL of 17.85. If I try and link it into this plan view, what's going to happen? I won't see it because it'll be 17, because we're in millimeter units, it'll be 1780.850 millimeters above my view, because how the default view depths are set. Oh, I apologise. I'll pin it into this file first and have changed it. Oops, my bad. Anyway, so we'll carry on. That's what I was going to do first. Anyway, was fix the view range so that it was a limitless view. Okay. So remember me doing that from a previous example, right? The other thing I could also do is I could go to a north view, and I could actually link the Revit model in here. Elevations are a bit unique in that they're sort of quite limitless. So if I did center to center in this view, it would come in an elevation in the correct, and I'd see it. So let's go back to datum here, and we'll link the Revit file. Revit file. Apologies. Okay, and we will link it center to center. All right, so nothing yet. ZX. Oh, so this is often what you see, because this has got its own internal coordinates. It's placed it miles away. So what I'll do is just move it down here to our starting point. There's no magic in this, and it comes in using the oops, hit the calculator button again, hitting the delete key now. So there's our little architectural model that's come in with project coordinates. Now you see how I had no problem about moving it around anywhere, is because at this stage I haven't established the coordinates. So if I pick it and go to the properties screen, it comes up over here, tells you that it's the linked architectural model, and under the shared site parameter, it's not shared. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to acquire the coordinates from that linked model. So, and what this does, Revit reads the other model and actually establishes the shared coordinates, or establishes the true north point all for automatically for you by itself. And you do that by going up here to manage, and you go position, no you don't, you go coordinates, and you go to acquire coordinates. So it's coordinates, acquire coordinates. Now it doesn't matter which view you're in, whether you got Project North or True North set. I'm just staying here. In Project North because that's where I was. I didn't have to do anything. Acquire coordinates in Revit. Down the bottom of the screen, select a linked project from which to acquire shared coordinate systems. And you come over here and you pick your architects file. Okay, simple as that. Now if I pick the architects file again, you see how it's now changed the shared site. It's picked the internal stored location, which you looked at before. I've called it correct survey location. And now if I now go True North, my project now rotates because it's taken all the information about the two different coordinate systems and has put them in the model. Now go back to Project North. Next thing we've got to do, of course, is now establish our levels. So I'm going to cut the section, view, cut section. We're going to go to view, and there's our because we've got no content in our model at all yet. So there's our architectural cross section, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and go collaborate. I'm going to go copy monitor. Sorry about that, my mouse is not working. Select link, and I'm going to copy, and I'm going to pick the grid, and I'm going to pick that grid. And I'm going to go finish. So the copy monitor command creates a new grid in our model, but it leaves a monitored link to the linked architectural model. You should always copy monitor grids and levels. Now I'm going to go to back to our plan view, and I'm going to go collaborate, copy monitor, select link, pick the architects file, copy, and I'm going to pick this grid, this grid, this grid, and this grid, and go finish. You see now it's placed a grid in our model, but it's monitored to the architect's model. So if they shift the grid, we'll get a message in Revit. And now, see, we're still working with our datum level, but we've created levels in the other view. So if we now go view, plan views, structural plans, it's copied out the ground and the roof. It's got that from the architect's model. I'm going to create those. So now we've now created plan views and our own model. Okay, and now you can just start your modelling. We've got a slightly truncated roof there, so you just might increase this a little bit. Okay, so now you can see the roof. Now, if we go back now and look at our own location in this model now, we can see the same deviation from east project to true because the system has been brought out of the architectural model. We've used the architect's grids and levels to establish our own, and we've created our plan views which now match the architect's. Okay, I think that's all we need to talk about there. Just before I go, I will just mention there's a couple of words of warnings. You can only acquire once. So if you've got an architectural file, you can acquire the coordinates and then you've established shared coordinates in your model. If the architect shifts the building, you can't relink the new model and reacquire. You can only acquire once. If that happens, you do have them move a building. What you've got to do is go to a site model, place their building in a site model in the correct position, then place your model in the same site model, and then position your model over top of their new location, and then you would use the sorry about that, keep on coming out. Then you would use the published coordinates. So you would have to be in a separate file with their moved building and your building, because you originally had the same shared coordinate system, and then you would have to publish out your coordinates to change the shared system in your model. Look, if anyone's got any questions about that, I can do another little movie to explain that process. But just remember that acquiring can only happen once, and once it's happened once, and something moves, for project reasons, then you actually have to do the changes in a site model and you publish out the coordinates. Just one other little word of warning. You can only acquire shared coordinates if, I'm just going to close that model without a save. Nope. And go back to our architectural model. You can only acquire coordinates if there's one shared location. Now, what I mean by that is in here, this is back into the architect's model. I've called this this current shared system correct survey location. But if there's more than one shared location in the model, you won't be able to acquire it. And you can't acquire it because Revit doesn't know which one to use. And if that's the case, you would have to go back to the site model and publish it out to publish the coordinates back out to your model. Now, this happens quite a lot, especially in large projects with lots of little buildings. Now, this particular job, shelter, was used 6 times in the project it's come from. So there were 6 locations stored in here, because each of them had, it's the same building, but it had different spots in the world. So you can store multiple locations. Now, in that particular case, you can't acquire in your model because it's multiple locations, and to establish the 6 locations in your model, you would have to use a site model. So just by return email, if anyone wants me to go over that in a little movie, I'm quite happy to, but it's one of those things, it happens very rarely, but as long as you remember, you can only acquire once, and then if the coordinates change, you have to work from a site model. Okay, I'll close it off there.